is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. The FNM raising the alarm. Pintart claims that the PRD is seeking to allow unregistered voters to cast votes on white ballots. Davis administration pushing back against the use of former Prime Minister Ingram in the campaign process for the FNM. And a repeat child molester jailed for 13 years. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, May 8th, 2026. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, my special guest co-host today, Ahmad Rashad Thompson, will be joining us. Also this morning, our Safe and Sound series in Morning Blend Business. We are talking about why physical security is still important, regardless of the cyber digital AI attacks. And we'll tie this into the general election as well. We're going to get into all of that this morning. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the FNM sounding the alarm on reports that the Parliamentary Registration Department is seeking a legal pathway to allow people not on the voters' register, but who have voters' cards to vote on Election Day. During a press conference yesterday, FNM leader Michael Pintart said the Parliamentary Commissioner Harrison Thompson confirmed that the department has produced a voter's card for thousands of individuals whose names do not appear on the official register, and that the department is seeking an opinion from the Attorney General's office on how those people may be permitted to vote. Pintart saying that the FNM has reliable information that the PRD, under the commissioner appointed by Prime Minister Davis, has been seeking this legal pathway. He said the FNM wanted to make sure that this does not happen in the dark. He said the government and the Parliamentary Registration Department have produced the voter's card for individuals whose names do not appear, and that these numbers, the number of people in this category, could be as high as 15,000. Parliamentary Commissioner Harrison Thompson did not respond to calls from the NASA Guardian yesterday. Pintard vehemently opposed the PRD seeking legal counsel regarding unregistered voters, referencing the Parliamentary Elections Act, Article 58. FNM attorney Khalil Parker says the news came during a meeting with the Commissioner of Police, the Parliamentary Commissioner, and political parties on Wednesday. He said he asked Thompson his position on people not on the register presenting themselves at the polls on Election Day. Parker says that Thompson indicated that was the law as present, and not being satisfied with the answer, he asked again whether the department was seeking a workaround from the structure that requires such persons to vote on colored ballots. Parker says, though the PRD seems to have abandoned the Supreme Court approach, they may still consider the issue, which has led the FNM to alert the public on the situation. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Philip Davis last night telling supporters on Grand Bahama that come Tuesday, only one Prime Minister will be on the ballot. Davis was responding to his friend and former law partner, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, who on Wednesday urged FNM supporters to vote against the PLP's Fort Charlotte candidate, Sebastian, whom Ingram claims eventually wants to become Prime Minister. Well, during the rally last night, Prime Minister Davis said, quote, "Just to avoid any confusion, may I remind him that there's only one Prime Minister on the ballot. I understand the difficulty FNM supporters have. They want change, they want progress, but they have a divided leadership team that can't deliver. To them, I say this is a moment when your vote for the country really counts." And in a statement yesterday, PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell highly critical of the FNM's decision to incorporate former Prime Minister Ingram as part of its campaign. In a statement, Mitchell said Ingram's comments are, quote, "tedious irrelevance," saying, quote, "Hubert Ingram is running for no office in the Bahamas. He's seeking neither the office of the Prime Minister nor any other public position. At this stage, what he says or does is best characterized as tedious irrelevance." And other members of the PLP yesterday saying the FNM's decision to have Ingram speak at the rally was indicative of a lack of faith in the party's leader, Michael Pintard. PLP's communications lead, Latrey Ramming, said the FNM used Ingram to, quote, "hide the weak leadership of Michael Pintard," as he accused the party of being dishonest about the PLP's record in government while offering little in the way of substantive plans. In other news, a child molester who reoffended shortly after his release from prison has been jailed for 13 years. 58-year-old Dwight Bell was ordered to undergo psychiatric treatment while behind bars and will be placed on the sex offenders registry upon his release from prison. Justice Janine Weish Gomez said the sentence would protect the public and particularly young children from Bell, who has demonstrated a persistent, dangerous sexual attraction to young boys, according to the judge. Due to the nature of the crime, Bell is not eligible for sentence reduction for good behavior. Bell received credit for pleading guilty to his crime, sparing his young victim the trauma of reliving the sexual assault. On September 7th, 2024, Bell lured a 9-year-old boy into his New Providence home and raped him. After the sexual assault, he gave the boy $2 and a bag of chips and told him not to tell anyone. The crime took place soon after Bell completed a sentence of 9 years and 5 months for molesting a 5-year-old boy. He did not show any reaction when he learned his fate. Bell's lawyer, Nathan Smith, had sought a sentence of 10 years coupled with psychiatric treatment, while the prosecutor, Desiree Ferguson, asked for a 20-year prison term. Overseas, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer insisting today that he will not resign after bruising elections that saw his governing Labour Party suffer big losses and the hard right party Reform UK make major gains. The local and regional elections are widely seen as a referendum on Starmer, whose popularity has plummeted since he led Labour to power less than 2 years ago. Voters have grown impatient for economic growth and dramatic change after 14 years of Conservative government, and many Labour lawmakers have become despairing at the government's failure to deliver. With about a quarter of the votes counted on Friday morning, Starmer said he took responsibility for the very tough results but would not quit. Starmer saying, quote, "The voters have sent a message about the pace of change, how they want their lives improved. I was elected to meet those challenges, and I'm not going to walk away from those challenges and plunge the country into chaos." Meanwhile, Reform UK, led by veteran nationalist politician Nigel Farage, won hundreds of local council seats in working-class areas in England's north that were once solid Labour turf. They also made gains from the Conservatives in areas on the eastern edge of London. Farage says the results marked an historic change in British politics. The picture will change throughout the day today as results come in from the majority of local councils, including Labour strongholds. Votes will also be counted in contests for semi-autonomous parliaments in Scotland and Wales. A Labour rout in the elections could trigger moves by restive party lawmakers to oust a leader who won a landslide victory in July 2024. Even if Starmer survives for now, many analysts doubt he will lead the party into the next general election, which must be held by 2029. So Reform UK, running on an anti-establishment, anti-immigration message, also is eyeing breakthroughs in Scotland and Wales, though pro-independence nationalists, the Scottish National Party, are more likely to form governments in Edinburgh. Losing control of Wales could be a huge blow for Labour as well, which could be pushed into third place. Labour has dominated Welsh politics for a century and has led the Cardiff-based government since it was established in 1999. Across the UK, Labour is losing votes to Reform UK on its right and also to the Green Party, whose popularity has risen under self-described eco-populist leader Zach Balansky. The Greens hope to increase their vote share and win hundreds of council seats in urban centres and university towns. And the United States is not looking at imminent military action against Havana, despite U.S. President Donald Trump's repeated threats that Cuba is next, and that American warships deployed in the Middle East for Iran could return by way of the island, according to U.S. officials. Officials involved in preliminary discussions with Cuban authorities also telling the Associated Press that they are not optimistic the communist government will accept an offer for tens of millions of dollars in humanitarian aid, 2 years of free Starlink internet across and access for all Cubans, and agricultural assistance and infrastructure support. But they say Cuba has not yet outright refused the offer, which comes with conditions that the government has long resisted, even after the Trump administration imposed new sanctions Thursday on Havana. The largest of those sanctions is against the business conglomerate operated by the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces. The officials speaking to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity say there is still time for the government to accept the offer. They cautioned, though, that Trump could change his mind at any time and that military options are still on the table. And Spanish authorities today are preparing to receive more than 140 passengers and crew members on board a hantavirus-stricken cruise ship headed for the Canary Islands, where health officials have said they will perform careful evacuations. The vessel is expected to reach the Spanish island of Tenerife off the coast of West Africa on Saturday or Sunday. The MV Hondias is a Dutch-flagged vessel, and Dutch officials saying today they were also in close contact with the ship's owner and authorities of countries where citizens are on board. The United States has agreed to send a plane to the Canary Islands to repatriate its 17 citizens from the ship. The British government also said it will charter a plane to evacuate the nearly 24 British nationals on board. At least 3 passengers have died and several other people are sick. The World Health Organization considers the risk to the wider public from the outbreak as low, and on Friday confirmed that a flight attendant on a plane briefly boarded by an affected passenger had tested negative. Her possible infection had raised concerns about the virus's potential transmissibility. A WHO spokesman saying Friday that her negative results should alleviate panic.
This is Sports Update.
In sports, Valdez VJ Edgecombe Jr. is being heckled in his first postseason in the NBA, and the Bayman rookie guard of the Philadelphia 76ers is handling it like a champion. Despite being in a 2-0 hole to the New York Knicks, Edgecombe is unbothered, stating that they just have to go back to Philly and protect home court. The Sixers lost 137-98 in Game 1 of their NBA Eastern Conference semifinals series to the Knicks Monday, and then fell in a closer game, 108-102 on Wednesday. Edgecombe was respectable in both games, scoring 12 points on 5 for 11 shooting Monday and adding 17 on 6 for 13 shooting on Wednesday. He's shooting 41.7% from three-point range, going 2 for 5 on Monday and adding 3 for 7 on Wednesday. The Bayman sensation got a taste of the raucous crowd in playoff basketball on the road in their first-round series against the Celtics, but that's nothing compared to what goes down in New York. In the first 2 games of the series, he's had his share of jeers from players and fans of the Knicks. From the games last night, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't scoring the way he usually does, but the Oklahoma City Thunder are still winning the way they normally do. Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning NBA MVP, scored 31.1 points during the regular season. In the Western Conference semifinals against the LA Lakers, he's averaging 19 points and taking only 14 shots per game. Oklahoma City, though, has still won the first 2 games by an average of 18 points. Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren each scored 22 points, and the defending champion Thunder beat the LA Lakers 125-107 last night. With the other game last night, Cade Cunningham had 25 points and 10 assists to lead his Detroit Pistons past the Cleveland Cavaliers 107-97. They too now have a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference semifinal. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Star General. A ridge of high pressure sitting across the Bahamas, supporting a light to moderate breeze and higher than normal temperatures in May. A few passing showers and calm seas will occur throughout the country today. So forecasters and meteorologists are warning us to be prepared for what they're calling a heat dome across the country. That's going to bring hot, humid, and sweltering conditions beginning this weekend into early next week. It's not going to be pleasant. We'll tell you more about that in just a bit. But for today, everyone's being advised to remain hydrated, wear protective clothing and sunscreen, and seek sheltered areas during peak sunshine hours. UV indices expected to be in the high to extreme range, and heat indices in the upper 90s and into the triple digits today. So your forecast for today, the northern half of the country looking at mostly sunny conditions, turning fair tonight, less than a 10% chance of showers, winds south to southwest at 10 knots or less for the extreme northern islands, and northwest at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable at times for the rest of the northwest Bahamas. The central and southeast Bahamas looking at partly to mostly sunny conditions today, turning fair tonight with a 10% chance of passing showers, winds east to southeast at 10 knots or less. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs getting close to 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 70s, between about 22 to 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We're going to tell you more about what to expect beginning this weekend into early next week, and the triple-digit heat indices that we're going to see, even possibly today, coming up in our next weather check in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the start of the end of the old way.
of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to, your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
If you're done with gas prices burning a hole through your wallet, stop paying the price and start driving the solution. A BYD EV from Easy Car Sales comes with an 80% drop in your fuel costs. So wave goodbye to gas lines and charge while you sleep. For 8 years, drivers like you have been breaking up with the pump and waking up to freedom. It's more than a car. It's a new way to be. It's a BYD from the one and only authorized dealer in the Bahamas. Visit easy242.com to learn more.
5 years, we struggle as they rule. Our economy in ruins. Job prospects dried up. Hundreds of millions spent on no-bid contracts. Illegal immigrants flooded our communities. Our schools and hospitals broken. And healthcare unaffordable. Now they want 5 more years. If they get it, our future, our Bahamas, is gone. Under the F&M, that changes. Because they know their job is to work for you, not the few.
Every job I've had, I've learned something invaluable. When I was in construction, my brother made us look for the screws and the nails in the dirt because your job could be held up. One of the sayings was, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. You are always on the clock. The F&M knows a strong economy means better jobs, more money in people's pocket, and a real comeback. And our team will work every day to make it happen.
This message was paid for and authorized by the Free National Movement.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
CFAL is a proud sponsor of Team Bahamas for the 2026 Games.
The F&M can't agree on anything except attacking everything started by the PLP. Now Michael Pintard is calling for a reset, but it's stop, review, and cancel again. Imagine, new airports, cancelled. School breakfast, cancelled. Upskilled. The National Youth Guard, cancelled. Energy reforms, cancelled. Their crew would roll back progress. The F&M, not strong enough to lead us forward, but petty enough to drag us back. Paid for by the PLP.
Make Mother's Day unforgettable with Kelly's House and Home's Mother's Day sale starting Friday, May 1st through Saturday, May 9th. Save 20% on a lovely selection of dinnerware, glassware, luggage, silk flowers, and picture frames, except on net items. We have beautiful gifts that let Mom know just how much she's appreciated. Shop early and enjoy 20% off at Kelly's House and Home during our Mother's Day sale May 1st through 9th. Happy Mother's Day with love from Kelly's House and Home.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
This election night, trust the team you trust every single day. On May 12th, your Guardian radio hosts will be live from 6 p.m. until the election is called, with verified results, breaking developments, and reporting from the entire Guardian News Network, the teams from Guardian Digital and the Nassau Guardian, every day and every election day. Stay with the Guardian News Network on Guardian Radio 96.9 and Star 106 FM.
Wendy's has brand new chicken tenders, and they're everything you've been craving. Crispy, juicy, and seasoned just right. These tenders bring the flavor from the very first bite. Dip 'em, dunk 'em, love 'em. With sauces like sweet chili, scorching hot, ranch, honey barbecue, honey mustard, and Wendy's signature sauce. Grab them as a kid's meal, enjoy them on their own, or make it a combo that hits the spot every time. For tenders you're gonna know by name, it's gotta be Wendy's.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
At Star General, you can go gold. Comprehensive car insurance covers loss or damage from accidents, fire, theft, and third-party liability. But the Gold package gives you increased coverage for rental car and windscreen, personal accident, medical benefits, deductible waiver, and 24-hour roadside assistance where available. Our Star General Gold package also gives you up to $2,500 for accidental damage to a rental car anywhere in the Bahamas. Go gold with Star General. Insurance made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian 6.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 4224796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, my special guest co-host today, Ahmad Rashad Thompson. No stranger to the show, but he's here in a different capacity today. Good to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas. It's great to be here with you this morning.
You're here on a countdown to Election Day morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
4 days. How much days are we now? 5 days?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, 4 days.
4 days
to go.
away, Dwight.
Yeah, it's crazy. And every day there's a new development.
Every day there's something brand new.
Yeah.
Or something newly addressed.
Exactly.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Same old issue, but a new spin, a new fervor behind it to alarm or to excite or to ignite even the electorate.
Yeah. What will we see today? My gosh. Anyway, we're going to talk about what we heard from yesterday. A lot of very unbelievable announcements made yesterday. We're going to get into that. Also this morning, we told you about this yesterday. So we were supposed to have somebody from the PLP join us yesterday. They said that wasn't going to be possible and that they were going to try for today. They've not responded, so it's not looking good. We don't think that's going to happen. So we've been, it stood up the right thing to say. Again. So, well,
what a time.
Oh, well. But in business, our Safe and Sound series, our monthly series with preventative measures, we're going to be talking about the need for physical security still and the benefits that can come from that as opposed to having everything digital or AI or whatever. And we're going to tie that into the election as well.
Yes.
Especially in light of some things that have happened over the past few days. So we're going to have an interesting discussion on many fronts today. But let's get right into it with what's in the news.
Yes,
And in the news, so I just want to make it clear. Someone's asking me, they don't want to pay to come on. No, these are sponsored segments. They just aren't showing up.
Money round.
It's crazy.
They just
spending the money but not showing up. Can you believe that? But we're not complaining.
Indeed.
But that's some wild stuff.
It is. I mean, I guess it's 4 days out, so there's other fish to fry. Maybe, I don't know.
Sure.
And we have to get on the ground.
They don't want to stink up the studio with their fish.
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Wow. Well, at least a couple have been on this show, but they've booked segments on other shows and not shown up at all.
Okay.
Which is very odd. And that's lots of back and forth between us and their folks.
Listen, I will say, there was a time when I believed, and I still, to an extent, believe it, that you make time for what you want to make time for. But I also know that people are like very busy. And sometimes people don't get ahead of their scheduling. They don't get ahead of priorities.
Sure.
But I also believe in communication. If you've made a commitment, honor that commitment, or somehow, say why you couldn't. It's some of the reasons we have so many challenges right now with this exact thing, this election. There's just been so much miscommunication or failure to recommunicate all the things. And I believe this is an indication of some of that.
Yeah. Well, we were joking yesterday that if nobody showed up, we were going to allow, since the segment's already paid for, any independent candidate or maybe even COI to call in and have a few minutes of airtime to promote yourselves. We actually have quite a bit to talk about this morning, so I'm not sure we're going to do that, but that's what we were planning on doing. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll chalk it up to that. They're very busy. They're campaigning. They're tired. They've been rallies every night. Rallies upon rallies. Every night. Competing locations, same party, but different islands. People hopping from one rally to another one.
Indeed.
It's just been wild.
Leaders hopping on planes to arrive at rallies.
Yeah. So nobody has time for any talking to the public directly. No.
What a time.
All right, so before we get into the political matters, and there's a lot to talk about, including what the FNM is saying about the PRD, which is quite something, and lots of pushback from the PLP about Ingram on the campaign trail, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram. I just want to get to this story very briefly, because this is disturbing. Repeat child molester, jailed for 13 years, only 13. He could have gotten 20. 13. RT's Davis writing about it. So a child molester who reoffended shortly after his release from prison was jailed for 13 years on Thursday. 58-year-old Dwight Bell was ordered to undergo psychiatric treatment while behind bars and will be placed on the sex offenders registry upon his release from prison. So I have a couple questions. Yes. So last time he wasn't. Did he have psychiatric?
Right.
No. Or is it again?
Is he going to be re-entered? Is there like another classification? Do you come up the ranks? Do you go further up on the list?
You mean the sex offenders registry, right?
Right.
Yeah, and was he not on that already after what he did before? But he's going to be placed on it. Okay, all right. Well, Justice Janine Weish Gomez said the sentence would protect the public and particularly young children from Bell, whom she said, quote, has demonstrated a persistent, dangerous sexual attraction
to young
boys. So due to the nature of the crime, Bell is not eligible for a sentence reduction for good behavior. Bell received credit for pleading guilty for the crime, sparing his young victim the trauma of reliving the sexual assault. Wow.
How nice.
On September 7th, 2024, Bell lured the 9-year-old boy into his New Providence home and raped him. After the sexual assault, he gave the boy $2 and a bag of chips and told him not to tell anyone. Wow. The crime took place soon after Bell completed a sentence of 9 years and 5 months for molesting a 5-year-old boy. He did not show any reaction when he learned his fate. His lawyer, Nathan Smith, had sought a sentence of 10 years coupled with psychiatric treatment, while the prosecutor, Desiree Ferguson, asked for a 20-year prison term. So again, he got 13 years and some credit for pleading guilty.
If you have made an active decision, whether mentally sound or not, to literally destroy a child's life. This little boy is 9 years old. I don't know of a world that exists where he will never remember or ever forget what happened to him, under what circumstance it was done, what was offered to him as a shh, don't tell nobody, and to watch the man or to hear the man or to read the story of the man going to jail for a time period that would not even make this little boy 30.
Wow.
He will exit jail if he lives, and the young boy will not even be 30 by the time as he is done with jail. This man, though, will still be, in his 70s, almost 80, maybe 80 something. There's certain things that are just not, you shouldn't see the light of day. You go into the jail for the rest of your life and you just wait till God call you. You find your salvation there and you see what happened. You don't get to come out and you get to, this isn't detention. This isn't like, okay, you didn't act good in school today, so you get to go home early. This is somebody's life destroyed, right? And obviously, from a person who has a challenge, this is your second that we know of offense. You have already served 9 years in prison.
My goodness.
For this exact same thing. For a child that was even younger, you have an issue, sir.
Yeah.
And justice system, he deserves to be in jail for as long as he has breath, in my opinion.
Well, if he's released, he should not be around humans
Ever.
Right?
Ever.
Some compound where he never sees other people,
Come on,
especially
man.
children. But I'm curious again to know whether he had been undergoing psychiatric treatment for the last crime, and so obviously that's not working. If he had,
Right.
And why wouldn't he have had that? I don't understand.
At that point. And then also, was he, like you said earlier, on the sex offenders registry before? Because the crime isn't any less heinous because it's the second time around. It's heinous the first time around. And again, this is only what we know he has done. These are only the children that have come forth, or maybe their parents or something have, alerted the police. What happens to people who we don't know that he've touched?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get your quick reaction to this. We have a lot to talk about this morning, but let's hear from you. 3232 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Standard text rates. What should happen? What should happen in situations like this? What would you have done? Again, the maximum is 20 years. I almost said only, because that really doesn't seem like enough.
It doesn't.
But only 20 years. Well, at least that was what the prosecutor was. I believe that must have been the maximum.
Right.
Sure. But let's hear from you. We know often in these cases, what is the maximum is never enough. But let's talk. Good morning. Oh, you gone? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Okay. They said, oh, come on.
Really?
This, I don't think this is appropriate. They're saying this guy did exactly what the PLP is doing to the people, violating them and giving them $2 in a bag of chips. That's not cool. I shouldn't have read it.
Wow.
Forgive me.
Wow.
You're sick to even bring this up into
in that
it's
context.
Not cool. It's not cool.
Come on,
Again,
man.
my apologies to everybody for reading that. Wow. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
You know, a lot of times when we hear about sexual assault, we always think about women. And there is this persistent view that if it happens to a boy, he won't be as damaged.
Who says that? I've never heard that before. Oh, those people aren't well.
People do because,
Oh, man.
first of all, they're relying on the boy not to say anything about it, that he's tough enough to get through it.
What?
Yes, watch it. Watch it. They rely. If you've ever heard about grown men being raped, one of the stigmas that prevent them from reporting is the fact that they are a male that has been
Well,
raped.
okay, that part, sure.
Yeah. And similarly, with young boys, that they're not going to tell anybody. They're going to keep it quiet. Girls will go and tell. That's how they've been socialized.
So you're saying the
Girls
predators think that boys are an easier target.
Yes, exactly. You know, so they
Wow.
target those boys. Girls are being socialized to report sexual assault or abuse, even though a lot of times when they do report it, it's not believed. Boys definitely have been socialized to keep it quiet if it happens to you, because you don't want anybody to think you are you know that word people like to use.
Right.
Okay?
That's
So I'm
accurate.
happy that the young boy reported it, that his parents went forward with having this gentleman arrested, and I agree with Ahmad that he should never see the light of day.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You've got to talk to your sons, talk to your boys. This is wrong. This is unacceptable. If anybody touches you, does anything to you, you've got to tell. You've got to tell somebody, no matter who that person is.
No matter who. I think it's important that we engage our children. Something came to my mind as the day was talking to Dwight. Hurt people hurt people. And often, not always, not in every circumstance, but oftentimes, people who are perpetrators of sexual assault have also experienced sexual assault in some way. And they've not been able to actually work through what that trauma is. And so either they have accepted this as normal behavior. There is sometimes a level of, I can do this to somebody else. I'm going to inflict the pain that I endured on somebody else. Or there is some part of their brain, their psyche, their psychology that accepts this as normal or I would say normal behavior. And especially in situations where the sexual assault is directed toward a child. None of it is good. No version of sexual assault on any part of this planet is acceptable or is better than the other. But when an adult finds whatever that thing is in sexually assaulting a child, it is stemming from something a little bit deeper than just attraction, right? And to the lady's point, on her credit, specifically men are all over the world, not just in the Bahamas or in the Caribbean, are expected to just man up and push through. And especially if this happened to you, did you attract this? Did you incite this? Did you entice this? Are you gay?
Yeah, what did you do?
What you do? How you caused this to happen? Are you Cabania? And especially when that young boy does not have the love and attention he needs from a male figure in his life, the lines can easily become blurred, and that could become affection. All sorts of things can go wrong in that moment. And this is why one of the reasons you see these people, these court cases also come down for psychological assessment, because at this point, at 58 years old, he may be working through, he may have never worked through the trauma he experienced if this has happened to him before. Of course, I'm only supposing, I don't know his story, but could you imagine if he was 9 or 5 and now 50 and never been able to express or talk through what happened to him, then he may have been a child. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Again, repeat child
Indeed,
molester.
indeed.
And I really need to find out whether this is the first time that's been ordered.
Absolutely.
I would think everybody who's
Irrespective
sentenced
of
to prison needs psychiatric treatment.
Come on.
Psychological, maybe. But to talk to somebody.
Please do.
Life is going to be hard for you once you get out of here, and you need to learn some coping skills.
And then also, in our country, where is the sex offenders register? Is it, do you Google it? Do you find, like, seriously, if you have the answer to that, call us and let us know. How does someone know? How does the public really know that so and so is on this list,
Well,
and for what
someone's asked
reason?
the same question. I mean, it doesn't work the way it works in the States, and you don't have to go around telling everybody in your
Right,
neighborhood,
right.
or you're not ordered not to be near schools,
Right.
you're not ordered not to live next to children. It doesn't work like that.
Wow.
And that might need to change.
Right.
That might need
Right.
to change. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're live on the air. Hi, are you there? No? Okay, call us back. This texter says here, castration works for me. Oh, boy.
Oh, my.
And then some other text messages I can't read. Oh, man. I think we need to order psychiatric treatment for everybody in the country.
With the text included.
Especially.
Oh, man.
Everybody in the country might need some therapy.
Listen, please, y'all, don't buy into the hype. Yes, I pray every day. God is my everything. But if you need a little help, search it out. Talk to somebody. Talk things through. Dwight, I saw someone. I've seen an increase in just anger. Just angry people walking around, angry. I don't know that they've had an opportunity to express themselves or to seek any help anywhere, but it's just people walking around angry.
This texter says, don't apologize on behalf of that texter. The government is raping all of us. And yes, our men are moving through life with scars. They're asking if any of us have ever been approached by other men, like in a threatening manner like this. Perhaps Ahmad can enlighten us on what's happening even in the workplace.
That's a good analogy, or a good segue, really. This is the thing. When you find in organizations, right, where people misuse power, male or female, I've been in positions personally where female employees, I'm sorry, that's the wrong term to use, but I've been in a situation where an older woman pursued me, a younger man at the time, for whatever reason she thought, and it was thought to be, you should be grateful that somebody looking at you or whatever, like,
Was she in a position of authority?
Yes, this was the leader.
Oh.
And it's like, how you miss, I mean, ain't like that, like everything ain't cool. But when you have people with power dynamics, Dwight, who assert themselves because of the role they play in organizations, these things take shape. Because if there's an absence of enforcement of policy, most organizations do have a policy in place, to protect employees from these types of things. But if that policy is not enforced, if that policy is being broken by the policyholders themselves, right, from employee to employee, from leader to employee, leader to leader, how then do you now determine that this is punishable by law or punishable by termination from the company? This is how you have to draw those lines, because people now have to understand, here's what is allowed, here's what's not allowed, and here's what happens if it does take place.
Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. You're always running away from us. Okay. This texture, this is a tough one. Oh, boy. Anyway, okay. He admitted it, so let's read it. Sure.
Okay.
This person says here, I was incarcerated along with Dwight Bell in 2021. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
And he played the system well. This is a lot of hearsay. You moved from maximum to medium and then to minimum. He acted as if he was changed, but I knew he was not changed, because when we watched ZNS News and kids came on the TV, he would react.
Wow.
And there's no good psychiatric help, I guess, in prison or anywhere.
I wouldn't say anywhere.
Wow. Okay, now see, that's a lot of hearsay. But
Right.
But anyway, he's convicted and
Indeed.
Wow. Okay. Well, all the more reason why he should never be
Absolutely allowed to
around
see
other people.
outside again, especially children. It is. These are some of the things that I believe our country has to become a leader in, not a bystander to. You have to establish I don't know if it's a premise, a law, or something, Dwight, where when these things happen, here is what happens next.
Yeah.
You go through the process, yes, you have your due day in court, and because accusations can be made and they can be false, sure. But you don't get the right to do it once, come out, do it again, and then get added to, and then be ordered to do psychiatric. Yeah. Come on.
No.
And then you get 13 years or whatever, because you confess, you agree to.
We don't know whether he did or not. He might be, But in any event, this is disturbing.
It is.
Yeah, this is very disturbing. Let's take these calls quickly and then these other messages. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Morning, sir.
Great. Yeah. What the gentleman said in there about the power dynamics when it comes to women is really discussed in the book. It is true, and the feeling of you should be honored is so true that me, a woman, is actually paying attention to you, a younger guy. You should be honored. That is so true, but it's never discussed. It's almost like it's a bad joke that's hidden under the veils of everything else. That but I'm happy that you guys are discussing it. And mental health, as it relates to men, is null and void. I mean, even in the black community, but for men especially, like your guest said, it's almost expected for men to suck it up.
Right.
You have men dealing with finding out after years you're not the father of the kids. Or I mean, just for example, everybody in the community is saying, just suck it up. Go, like, not thinking about the mental stress that could play on a potential father, thinking you were the father for all these years, only to find out you're not the father, and everybody expected that man to just go on like nothing happened. And lastly, as it relates to men not having a place, a safe space in our community as it stands right now. Hopefully that's changing. To even if you're being touched, to vent to anybody, because you like your guest said, they be looked at as homosexual. Like they put themselves in that position to get touched. And sadly, a lot of men are going through life, navigating through this Bahamas with some deep traumas, and that could be exacerbating some of the issues you have in the community right now, where men are lashing out. Young boys are lashing out when they go to school, and you're wondering, why is little boy so aggressive? Not knowing that they were molested. And not only by men, you have women who prey on young boys too. That's another thing that's never discussed in the Bahamas, where you have older women, aunties, older persons, family members who prey on these young boys, and they come out so promiscuous and sometimes questioning their sexuality. But I'll hang up on this.
Yeah, no, great points. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Definitely have to change these conversations. Wow. And we really pray for this 9-year-old boy in this case.
The caller raised a good point. Could you imagine, Dwight, a young boy, 13, body changing, body reacting? Okay? Don't let the fact that when you are sexually assaulted, that you may respond favorably to that assault.
Right.
Because your body is you're not in control of it at 13 or 14 or whatever the age is. Because you imagine you, a 13, 14-year-old boy, your auntie, your mommy, your daddy's sister, right? Doing whatever she did to you, you go to tell your daddy or your uncle, and he tell you should be glad the gal, or what kind of man you ducking, da-da-da. We have not trained, taught, encouraged people, men specifically in our nation, to address these issues with their children at large. If it's a girl, I can kill him. If it's a boy, you got to be the problem, right? Those are two broad generalizations that cripple an entire society. Yeah. Because what happens when the boy moves from aggression to regression? He all of a sudden withdraws. Or Miss Jones, your boy don't say nothing in school. He just shut down all of a sudden, but nobody's paying attention to why or how or when.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want us to focus on gender here, because not at any time. But when it does happen, what have you taught your children to do and say? How have you taught them to recognize the signs of assault? As an adult, do you know what to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Okay. This person says here, I want to encourage all parents to have open conversations with their children about molestation. I've had these conversations with my son since he was 3 years old.
Listen, I don't think there's any age beyond like baby where they can't comprehend, but your children, from they can understand what bodies are, should know what is allowed and what is not allowed from anyone in your family. Please don't take anyone for granted. Yeah. I have a niece, I have a nephew, and I have told them, if anything I ever do or I've offended you, words I say, if anything makes you feel like, I show uncle head on, right? You let your parents know immediately.
Wow.
Because something, you could do something in innocence, you could do something, whatever, all right? But if anything I do or say to you in your parents' hearing or not, if it makes you feel any level of discomfort, you immediately have the right to tell your parents or whomever you feel you can trust, listen, man, uncle said something to me yesterday, I sure I like that, talk to him for me, please.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. This person says, I agree with the callers. When it happens to boys, they expect him not to tell because they would call him a sissy.
Indeed.
I've had a cousin who was molested and who was a male, and he didn't tell anybody he was molested until he was an adult.
Wow.
And his own cousin, a known family member, did this to him.
Jesus.
And to this day, certain people still don't know about it. They are threatening these little children. My cousin said he told him that if he'd told anybody else, he would have killed him.
Wow. And you can imagine the weight of that on a child, right? Children are taught to believe adults. So if an adult says to you, I'm going to kill you if you tell somebody A or about this, they may believe you. Chances are they believe you. And they carry that on for the rest of their life, because what happens when that mind has been conditioned from childhood to adulthood, they see other people get the same result. They watch TV, they see the person who brought it to the forefront is now hurt or damaged or whatever. These things persist for years and years.
This person says here the history of this repeat offender, child rapist, and those like him is glaring evidence that Bahamian society is very tolerant of the raping of children. Other societies put these people to death. We must end this futile, meaningless exercise of trying to understand evil.
That's heavy.
Okay, wow. Caller, what say you? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Ahmad.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, Dwight. Now, you know, I've had at least 23 years of this, addressing these various forms of child abuse. If I would have put it to you two gentlemen, that we have gotten progressively worse. Would you agree with me?
In many ways, yes.
Yes, sir.
You know, Dwight, this is not a central issue for any, government, it seems. I've had 23 consecutive years at addressing these various forms of child abuse. And then when you look at the sentencing, here it is, as I was listening to your report, gentleman was already charged and convicted of molesting a 5-year-old.
Right.
Now a 9-year-old. And the prosecutor is looking at 20 years maximum. Are we serious? How did he get out in the first place?
Come on.
How many years did he get for the first offense?
9. It was 9 years.
9 years. See, we all know there's no known cure for pedophilia. There's no known cure. So what is the urgency to get these individuals back on the streets? Are we protecting the powerful person who also preys on children? When it's their turn, they get a slap on the wrist as well. See, we're not protecting the common, unconnected man on the street, Dwight. I've had intimate involvement in this particular issue more aggressively than anyone else in the country, and I've gotten nowhere. Nowhere on this issue other than roadblocks from powerful people in this country.
That's very interesting.
But I don't know why we have this high tolerance for child abuse in this country. If this
Well, it
was
seems
an
like any sexual crime.
or any sexual
it
crime,
seems
period.
across-
Let's put it like that. But then when I talk about children, they are the most vulnerable in our society.
Absolutely.
And if they're not protecting the most vulnerable, the old people, why are we? I mean, this is just mind-boggling to me, right? But I can say to you, and I can say to the wider Bahamas, everyone who can do something about this nonsense and refuse to do it, there's plenty blood on their hands, not mine. There's plenty blood on their hands. And they're going to get their day of reckoning. So they can play around, they can laugh about it, they can clown about it, they can put roadblocks in my way. But the bottom line is, plenty blood is on their hand, and they're going to be a day that even them will not be able to tolerate. But
Cleaver, had this happened...
Let's see as this thing gets progressively worse.
Don't go yet. Had this happened in some other countries, especially the U.S., there would be a lot of people in trouble. As in people who, the short sentence that he got for the previous crime and the fact that he was put on the streets, there would be lawsuits, there would be all manner of things. We perhaps need to really change our attitude about these things.
Absolutely.
This offender was put back out on the streets and immediately reoffended.
Soon after.
There have to be other folks have to be held accountable for this.
But Dwight, the prosecutor was only seeking 20 years.
I believe that might be the max. That might be, I can confirm this, but that's close to the max. That's close to the max.
This is just mind-boggling to me, and I hope they're listening to me. But their day is going to come.
Yes, sir.
Their day is going to come.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it just like that for now. But I'm angry.
Thank you. Of course, we all need to be
Absolutely.
angry. This is insane. Thank you so much. This person says here, until we, the people, start electing MPs who can pass sensible legislation and make new laws, things will remain the same. Well, that's a challenge, right? They say they will. They say they're going to do it, but it never becomes a priority when they get in. Right? At the last minute, they'll rush through some legislation, and then it's challenged by the next administration. Then, so we have to question whether anybody's serious about this stuff.
Right. I also wonder too if there needs to be two things come to my mind. At what point, like what chamber do they go through to become unattached to what they said they would do? Like, is there a magic closet that you just pass through once you get sworn in? It's like, okay, forget that. Now it's to do what I want to do. Is it some button they press or like a machine that just undoes everything that was done
There's
on the
another
campaign trail?
scenario. There's another scenario that's much more sinister. That they were never telling the truth.
They
in the
never
first
meant
place.
it. Wow, why did I think about that? Right? Maybe I'm delusional myself. I don't know. And then the second thing is, do we need to compartmentalize government more to focus on social ills? Right? So maybe there are people who are focusing on infrastructure. Maybe there are people who are focusing on investment. People who are focusing on the development of the nation. And then others who are focusing on the actual social ills.
That's happening. But they clearly that is not a priority
for them.
It's at the maybe if we're lucky mid-tier, but probably the bottom of priority list.
Okay, I have a question, Dwight, and you can educate me here. This is a bit off topic, but similarly to regarding of how we actually approach issues in our nation. When I was a little boy, my grandmother had a hair salon. Right, it was in what you would call, I guess, the inner city. Right, and there were persons through her corner, the corner that her shop is through, that went to the pump for water. My grandmother had running water from like 19-something, right? But there are people through her corner that used to go to the pump for the water. And yesterday I was driving through an inner city, and I saw a young boy, might have been like 13, at the pump for water. I was younger than him when I first observed people going to the pump for water. I'm now 38, and I still see people going to the pump for water.
Yeah.
There's been five administrations, I believe, 4 or 5 in my time that I've been able to vote, and people are still going to the pump for water.
Absolutely.
How do you stop people from going to the pump for? Is it that I choose not to have running water, or that I can't get running water in my home? Is my home not built for it?
A lot of slum landlords. We've had governments in the past that have been saying they've pledged that they're going to end all of this, the outdoor toilets and that kind of stuff. But it continues.
So do you as the government? Can I say to you, there's no more, like nobody in our country should be going to the pump for water, and then put something in place? Is it easy like that, or is it just like, hey, Mr. Landlord, could you consider putting plumbing in your apartment?
They've tried this, but some of these folks are well entrenched in these parties, and like, you can't make me do this, and blah, blah, blah. You know how much money it's going to cost for me to rewire this and then to run the pipes and all the stuff.
Wow. Okay.
And then probably still, we don't talk about it as much as we did 10 years ago.
Right.
When this show first started, that was a big story about the number of outdoor toilets. But I don't hear people talking about that much anymore. But I'm sure they still exist. But definitely the pumps are still there, and people are still going to the pump.
Actively
Remember,
using
this
them.
was a challenge during the pandemic.
Right.
People were arrested when there
To
was
go
a
bathe.
curfew to get water from the pump. So it continues to be.
Okay.
Here we are. Someone sent a text as we get ready to go to the news about how Florida and Ron DeSantis, the governor there, they've passed legislation to crack down on child sex predators, increasing the penalties, mandatory minimums, and life in prison even for some.
Yes.
And maybe even stronger for some others. And, we just have to have the will to
Just
to
do
deal
it.
with these
Just
things.
go to your parliament meeting.
Yeah.
Go to the Senate and pass the law that says if you rape a child, go to jail forever. If you rape anybody, go to jail forever. You know, Liz, because you only come back out to see us in public. Personally.
Don't hold your breath.
I know, right?
It seems. We're going to go to the news. We're going to pick this up. A whole lot more to talk about. We're getting into politics after the break. This is Dwight Strachan along with special guest co-host Ahmad Rashad Thompson today. Stay with us.
every night. You know I pray. I said we pray. Oh yeah, we pray.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:27, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Kalina. Visit Kalina's new Southwest Plaza location. Today, the walk-in Carmichael location is now in Southwest Plaza, open from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll see you soon at Kalina Southwest Plaza. So in the weather today, we've got a ridge of high pressure sitting across the country, supporting a light to moderate breeze and higher than normal temperatures for the month of May. And a few passing showers and calm seas will occur throughout the archipelago today. But be prepared for very, very warm and uncomfortable conditions, as a heat dome across the Bahamas will bring hot, humid, and sweltering conditions through to early next week. Gentle winds and high humidity will make temperatures feel even hotter than they are, so everyone's being advised to stay hydrated and limit strenuous outdoor activities. A late-season cold front is expected to move into the northern Bahamas by Tuesday, Election Day. And that's going to bring some showers and possible thunderstorms that will cool down temperatures a little bit for the northern and northwest Bahamas, but you may need to bring your umbrella for your voting on Election Day. Elsewhere, seasonably higher temperatures will continue through to the middle of next week. So for today, everyone's being advised to remain hydrated, wear protective clothing and sunscreen, and seek shaded areas while outside during peak sunshine hours. UV indices expected to be in the high to extreme range, heat indices reaching the upper 90s into triple digits today and for the next few days. So for today, your forecast for the northern half of the country, partly sunny, turning fair tonight, less than 10%. The central and southeast Bahamas looking at partly to mostly sunny conditions, turning fair tonight with a 10% chance of showers. Across the country, look for high temperatures hitting 90 degrees, 91 even for the southeast Bahamas. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 70s. In your extended outlook for your weekend, Saturday, tomorrow, mostly sunny, turning fair at night with a 10 to 20% chance of showers. By Sunday, partly sunny with a few cloudy periods, turning mostly fair at night. Most areas looking at about a 10 to 20% chance of showers. By Monday, a mix of sun and clouds for the northern half of the country, turning partly cloudy at night, and mostly sunny, turning fair at night for the southern half of the country. Tuesday, the changes with the front moving through, partly cloudy conditions with occasional cloudy periods for the northern half of the country, 20 to 40% chance of showers with thunderstorms. That's your Morning Blend Weather Check. Weather Check also brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. If you're looking to paint, your local Sherwin-Williams store has top quality paints and expert advice and pro tips to help you save only at Sherwin-Williams. And 8:31, time for a check of traffic brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. So we've got heavy traffic as usual on Mile Butler Highway from just north of the Fire Trail roundabout. You'll see that all the way up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway at this hour. And some slow-moving traffic along Tawny Williams Darling Highway westbound towards that roundabout, but also eastbound as you approach Bahamas Games Boulevard. Seeing some slow-moving traffic along Gladstone Road, but getting much better for you by the time you get to Munnings Road. If you're heading northbound, there is a bit of a line for you at the roundabout with John F. Kennedy Drive and Bahamar Boulevard. Along West Bay Street, we've got, as usual, near Saunders Beach, some slow-moving traffic as you approach that roundabout with New Providence Highway, always an issue there. And east of Arawak Key, slow-moving eastbound traffic along West Bay Street near Nassau Street. Also westbound as you approach Nassau Street from that side. Then we've got Blue Hill Road and Independence Drive. Blue Hill Road, slow-moving northbound traffic from well south of Carmichael all the way up to Independence Drive. Independence Drive back to both directions, but especially eastbound at this hour. Heading towards East Street. East Street seeing some very heavy slow-moving traffic from south of Malcolm Road, straight through Soldier Road and the roundabout with East-West Highway, all the way up to Robinson, and even north of that as you get closer to Balfour Avenue and Wolf Road. And Robinson Road near Prince Charles Drive, very heavy traffic for you. If you're heading westbound, straight through to Marathon East-West Highway. Eastern Road also seeing some pockets of slow-moving westbound traffic west of Fox Hill Road at this hour. That's your real-time traffic. Good luck out there. It's your real-time traffic and Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Need cover you can count on? You can buy motor insurance your way. Stop by your nearest branch or visit nuainsurance.com. Simple, secure, and ready when you are.
The world is changing. It's bringing new challenges, but also new opportunities. The truth is, our economy always left too many Bahamians out. Now we're opening new doors in agriculture, tourism, energy, entrepreneurship, providing grants, scholarships, national service, and upskilling. A new generation is rising, and we're finally moving in the right direction, building an economy that includes everyone.
Paid for by the PLP.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
Tired of banks forcing you to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
The following is a paid political message.
Kalani. Whoa. Hey. Kalani. Oh, the future is brighter. Oh, vote for my diver. Hey, 'cause she is a fighter. Kalani. Hey, the future is brighter. Oh, if you need improvement, oh, come join the movement. Come join the movement. Hey, you're looking for change, find it here. You're looking for justice, find it here. You're looking for truth, find it here. Vote for MacGyver. She's here for you. See everybody in Kalani. Change is here. Hey, hands in the air. See everybody in Kalani. Vote for MacGyver. She is a fighter.
That was a paid political message. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.
Pray that I do my best. Pray that I can lift up. Pray my brother is blessed. Praying for enough. Pray Virgilia wins. Pray I judge nobody and forgive me my sins. I pray we make it. Pray my friend to pull through. Pray as I take it. Unto others I do. Praying on your love. We pray with every breath. Though I'm in the valley of the shadow of death. And so we pray for someone to come and show me the way. And so we pray for some shelter and some records to play. And so we pray.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Ahmad Rashad Thompson on this Friday morning. All right, so we got to get into the revelations from the F&M about PRD in just a second. But I want to read these final messages that we got based on the conversation we've been having about a lot of the horrible things happening in terms of sexual violence and predators in our country. So we got these messages here. This person says here, how is it that women preying on boys have not come forward? Women preying on women haven't come forward. But this pedophile who's known to the police this has been allowed to do this so much, I guess they're saying. Further in this week, there was another case where a man molested a 5-year-old. The Minister of National Security makes these cases seem consensual. No, he doesn't. Let's not do that. That's not true. We have a sick society where the worst of the worst is acceptable, even with the advanced poll. What? How did I get in there? Pray loud. All right, so you're mixing a lot of things up, and that's not fair. But we have problems. We have a sexual predator problem, men and women, and there are many more victims than we want to admit. We've got a problem, and we're not addressing it.
We're not.
That we have massive sexual dysfunction in our country.
Massive.
Possibly one of the biggest problems in the country.
Across generations, across industries, across demographics, across socioeconomic statuses, across any number, religion, whatever you want to measure it by, people have been forced to suffer in silence. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh boy, I was going to say race too, yes, but not this text. Oh my Lord. Good morning. I'm a 40-year-old man. When I was about 15 or 16 in Freeport. I mean, they brought. Okay. Is this relevant? But anyway, a group of white men in Port Lucaya passed me and one pinched my butt. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who he was or who did it. I never told my parents. Okay.
40 years old.
So it's still bothering you.
At 15. See, this is the thing, Dwight. We have been accustomed, conditioned, expected to go through life and just get through life. Perhaps that individual just didn't know who to tell. And that's even worse. If you have parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, people in your life that you can trust, your pastor, somebody in the church, whomever, if you have these people who are supposed to be a lifeline for you, that are in your life daily, active even, but you still don't know how to tell them. Imagine the trauma that child who then becomes an adult carries, unaware of how to navigate that trauma, and then may perhaps become a perpetrator of the same trauma onto somebody else.
Absolutely.
For whatever reason, maybe they found this normal behavior. Maybe they figured if it happened to me, it should happen to you too. Maybe they want to get back at somebody and they have to find somebody a little less powerful than them to do that too. Maybe they've conditioned their mind over time to believe, this isn't wrong, I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have worn those basketball shorts. Maybe I shouldn't have worn that sports bra. Maybe I shouldn't have gone to that bar that time. How do we let people internalize the trauma and say it's their fault? And then how do we not? We were talking about how is it? What if this gentleman was a lady? What if it was
with the child molester?
Right. What if it was Denise Bell, right, who had assaulted the 8-year-old or 13-year-old, whatever the age is, young person? Would it be the same outrage? Would it be that she would get the same sentence? Would it be that she would get the same sex offender registration situation ordered for her? Do we treat these things the same?
No.
Right? What about the teacher? And please, y'all, I know we just come to Teachers Appreciation Weekend, everything cool, but this is real life, Dwight. You have teachers who are young or old, who are maybe dealing with a young boy, young girl, and they use their influence to assault, to destroy a child. Right? Who is that young boy going to tell when Miss Johnson just do something to him that he know shouldn't have happened? What happens when the young boy is confused because he responded physiologically to it? He is a young boy, his body will react. She is a young girl, her body will react. She don't know the difference maybe at this moment that this is not right, but how do I know it's not right if it feels right? Or it feels pleasurable, right? These are the things you have to discuss at a larger level and really get children to understand it is not good just because it feels good. You know what I mean?
Again, talk to your children. Talk to your children
Absolutely.
from a very young age, as that texter said previously. All right, so we're going to leave that there. The big headline in the NASA Guardian today, though, F&M raises alarm. Pintar claims that PRD is seeking to allow unregistered voters to cast votes on white ballots. That's very significant. We're going to play a bit of the press conference from yesterday. This is a lengthy clip, but you need to hear what Michael Pintard is saying. And I'll tell you now, already, I was expecting by now we'd have heard from the PRD about this, explaining whether this is nothing yet.
Has come up. Right?
Nothing yet. We'll check the other papers, see if they had any luck. But it's not been strong enough, and we expected at least a statement from the government on this too. Nothing yet. Nothing yet, but they're talking about Ingram a lot for some reason. Take a listen to Michael Pintard at the press conference, the F&M press conference yesterday.
The Free National Movement has reliable information that the Parliamentary Registration Department, under the commissioner appointed by Prime Minister Philip Davis, has been seeking a legal pathway to allow individuals who are not on the official voter register to cast ballots on polling day. The Free National Movement is here today to make sure that that does not happen in the dark. I want to be measured this afternoon because the matter is serious enough that it deserves to be handled carefully. I'm going to walk you through 3 things. First, what we know. Second, what the law actually says. Third, what the Free National Movement is demanding before a single ballot is cast on Tuesday. Then I would take questions. Firstly, here is what we know. Let me set out the facts plainly. The government and the Parliamentary Registration Department have produced a voter's card for individuals whose names do not appear on the register. We understand the number of voters in this position is several thousand. One source says as high as 15,000. The parliamentary commissioner has confirmed that his department has been seeking an opinion from the Office of the Attorney General on whether these individuals may be permitted to vote on white ballots on Tuesday. Let me say that again, because I want every Bahamian listening to be clear on what we are dealing with. 5 days before this election, the body responsible for the integrity of our voter register went to the Office of the Attorney General to ask whether it could allow people not on the register to vote on the same ballot as everyone else. That is not a clerical question. That is a question about whether the rules of who can vote in the Bahamian general election can be changed on Thursday before a Tuesday election. And I want Bahamians to clearly understand, the request from the commissioner did not come out of nowhere. It came out of a department that on this government's watch has been the subject of warning after warning from the Free National Movement about omissions from the register, about duplicate cards, about fraudulent voters' cards in circulation. Warnings the government refused to act on. Now, on the eve of an election, the commissioner is asking the country to live with the consequences. The second thing I wish to say is what the law actually says. This is the part the Bahamian people need to hear most clearly. Bahamian election law has already settled the question the commissioner is asking the Attorney General. It was settled long before this commissioner came into office, and it remains settled today. Section 58(1)(c) of the Parliamentary Elections Act directs that any person who has a voter's card but whose name does not appear in the register for the relevant constituency or polling division, or who presents themselves to vote must vote on a colored ballot paper as a protest vote and not on a white ballot paper. That is the law. That is what the Parliament has already decided. And it has been the law of this country for a very long time. So the commissioner already had the answer before he picked up the phone to the Attorney General. The answer is in the statute. The answer is a colored ballot counted as a protest vote, not a white ballot counted in the result. That is what makes the request to the Attorney General so serious. It is not the commissioner asking a question he does not know the answer to. It is the commissioner asking for permission to override an answer the law has already given. Why does this matter? Some Bahamians watching this may ask, if there are people who tried to register and was left off the list, why not just let them vote? I understand, we understand the question, and I want to answer it honestly. The voter registration exists for a reason. It is the legal record of who is entitled to vote. It is the safeguard that ties every ballot cast on polling day to a verified eligible Bahamian. Without it, there's no way to know who is voting, where, or whether they are entitled to vote at all. Once you say a voter's card alone is enough to vote on Tuesday, once you decouple the card from the register, separate them, that is the card from the register, you are not just opening the door for the Bahamians who were wrongly left off the list. You are also opening the door for every fraudulent voter's card already in circulation in this country. And we know there are fraudulent voters' cards in circulation. Before the Free National Movement has placed the case after the police, before the Parliamentary Registration Department, and before the Bahamian public over the past months.
All right. F&M leader Michael Pindar at a press conference yesterday saying this is what it's come to their information that this is what the PRD was seeking legal advice on. So the Guardian article says that they were unable to reach Parliamentary Commissioner Harrison Thompson. Other folks are messaging us saying that Thompson was on another TV station saying that what the opposition leader said isn't true. I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it either.
But that they're not changing anything. But okay, so even if that isn't going to happen, is this possible that there could be that many people? How? Why would that be? And who could possibly even consider allowing folks who didn't take advantage of this process to vote?
Right. When I listened to this yesterday, I thought to myself, remember, I was here last week and I said, if I am the PRD, if I am that body of people, if I'm that commissioner, I'm doing everything that I can to not give any claim warranty, to give warrant to any claim that's going to be made, because I have followed this thing to the law. I have prepared my team. I have outfitted the organization to do the right thing, to follow the law, to make the right choices. These claims continue to take root because there is a flaw in the distribution and flaw in the functionality of the PRD that we've seen too often in this election cycle. And the word incompetence has been flown around dozens of times now, if not hundreds. But if I am the commissioner, sir, I implore you, this is not this is not business as usual. This is a heightened election season. Everything is on high. Everything is on high. Engagement, frustration, radicalism, claims, suggestions, all of these things. And if you were if I am the commissioner, I am doing all I can to involve anyone. By anyone, I mean the three parties vying for leadership of our nation. I'm engaging their leaders. I'm engaging their whoever the spokespersons are to say, listen, here's where we are, here's what we need, here's what we plan to do. I'm not doing things in secrecy. You're causing these claims to have more basis, even if they are not real or if they are true. What if, because Mr. Pintard also said yesterday after being asked a question, who is, like, not necessarily who is the source, but can you confirm that it really is 15,000 people? He said, no, we can't confirm. It could be as many as 15,000, which means it could also be one person, right? But that doesn't give, the number of people doesn't matter. It's the reason why they were allowed not to vote, not to be on the registry. By allowed, I mean, why was fail safes not in place to prevent this? Or is there a clause that says what happens if this does happen? If there isn't, I don't think this is a matter of opinion that an attorney general can outdo or override the law, especially in an election that is discharged.
Yeah. And again, we need to hear from people. And talking to one agency is not acceptable.
That's not
issue
gonna work.
a statement to everybody.
Yes.
We need to hear from the
Yes.
government. We need to hear from everyone.
Everyone.
This is nonsense. That's not true. That was asked, but we know better. That would never
Come
happen.
on, come
Something.
on.
Say something. This is madness. But you're responding so quickly to other nonsensical
Literally.
things. It
You have a
doesn't make
big
any
time
sense.
conference, big prayer meeting to respond to stuff that don't matter.
There are
But an
three
issue like
stories-
this.
3 stories in the Guardian today about PLP slamming Ingram on the campaign trail.
Excuse me?
3?
You caught up on a guest
3.
appearance at a rally when there are claims that there are 15,000 people or up to 15,000 people that have not been able to register and to be added to the register, and there's an appeal or a question asked to find out, can we add them?
Yeah. Those people knew what to do and they didn't do it. Screw them.
That's
Sorry
it.
to say.
You get the next
Yeah.
election
You
to try
get
your
that.
hand.
Right.
That's it. You missed it. Right? I feel like, and I want all parties listening to please consider what this means for our nation. Right? If you treat it like an organization to write, every organization has great employees and bad employees. People who just skylark and do what they want to do and actually feel. I don't think every parliamentary registration department individual is great, and I don't think all of them are bad. But everything, and I continue to say this with love, Mr. Thompson, rises and falls on leadership. And sir, there is no one that can take the brunt of this responsibility other than you.
Yeah.
And if I'm the leader, I'm trying to figure out why are there so many discrepancies in a process that has been around for 50-something years. No, man, something mean right.
Yeah. Let's hear from you. The phone lines are lit up. Callers, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's get these calls in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Ahmad.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, Dwight, it's full cycle for what I watch and what I'm saying, right? Because, over the months, right? Over the months, we was hearing cases of these cards being circulating, right? Just a couple of weeks back, we had a case where an employee of the parliamentary allegedly had hundreds of these documents in his possessions. We ain't hear what happened to that yet, right? But now it makes sense to why people was even having these documents, because they know that you would, at the end of the day, you wouldn't really. I mean, if it was allowed to happen, right? According to the parliamentary, based on what he is asking or requesting, then these documents would have been legitimized. I mean, or not, they would have become legalized based on what he was trying to accomplish. Because now all you need is a voter's card, and you just flash it and go vote. And now but it's crazy for these people to be doing these things right in our face and pretending. I don't know if they're pretending or hoping that we are pretending that what they are doing it's real because if one man could be arrested for all of it, allegedly again, or I know if it's allegedly, but for all of those voters card in his possession, is no. I could believe it's 15,000, right? Because think about it. This got to be some type of coordinated effort for this election to be stolen by this administration.
I mean, it's a serious claim. It's a serious claim. I don't know, but I think many missteps have been made, and an unusual number, unfortunately, and a perfect storm with a new system and adjusting to the permanent register, and maybe that wasn't the best move. I don't know, but we haven't adjusted to the changes that have been made. Let's see if we can get this call in. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Ahmad.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My brothers, the previous caller, I also, his words and everything I endorse because right now as it stands, gentlemen, we know that this election is apparently, by all appearances, is going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, contested, most watched election to date in the history of our country. With all of the abnormalities, all of the inconsistencies, all of the suspicions and assumptions, let me tell you, this election on the whole is going to be one of the closest watch ones ever in the history of this country. The thing what really gets me right now is this. With all of these things that's swirling already with this election, how in the world you could come up with something else now to add to the mix to even make this more contentious than what it is now? You mean adding names to the register that's not on the register after the door has been closed? You're talking about that now? Boy, all I could do is tell you, like I've been saying for a while, I already see a lot of these matters in the election. Because with all of the inconsistencies, we have the current administration, the current government, who actually, as someone said to me earlier today, there seems to be some coordination, as the previous caller also alluded to, and some collaboration going on behind the scenes. Why are we adding names to the register when the door has already been closed? Leave them for the next election, if they're still alive, to get involved, and let's try to get this process out of the way. This is already contentious enough. We want to see the end result, even though we know election court, here we come. But this process has got to happen for us to get past this point. That's all I have to say this morning. Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Again, they were seeking advice, supposedly. But let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, caller. Good morning. You're live.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you guys. I don't know if you all have any idea of who the parliamentary commissioner is, or you all have any history. If you know his history, then this would be expected.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
This is why it is so important when we're going to build a nation, build teams of people, you have to look for the most competent person to do the job. This government been warned prior to the appointment of this guy that he is not the best person for the job.
All right, but it's bigger than one man, though, isn't it? No?
It's bigger than one man, but you see, when you look at a captain on a ship, yes, it's bigger than one man, but the captain got to know how to conduct the order, the business of the ship. And if the captain doesn't know, then when things go wrong, he wouldn't even know it's gone wrong.
Okay. All right.
You agree with that?
Well, certainly. And again, the lack of responsiveness to when these issues come up is concerning, without a doubt. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. You're live.
Yes. Good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Ahmad.
Good morning, sir.
My question is, left off in terms of what? Was it the PRD's fault that they were left off? Because what does it really mean they were left off? Was something they were in and then they were out after the register was printed? Or they never read, they registered and they didn't have time to put them in the system?
It's not making
Could you
sense.
explain that to me?
I can't explain it.
What exactly it means to be left off?
Right.
Yeah.
See,
it doesn't make sense.
To me, it doesn't, because, Dwight, somebody called Mr. Lang's show and said that they were on the register, but they were registered in a different constituency, after voting in one constituency for the last 5 years. So apparently they didn't cross-check this register when they printed it out to see that everybody...
I wouldn't go that far.
But Dwight, I would, because if you're going to have all of these, if you voted in one constituency, how could you now, in this particular one, the woman said she voted in Southern Shore for the last 4 or 5 elections. Now they got it down in Angleston. That may only be one person that we know of.
Yeah.
So, I was a data input clerk, and I put in something, somebody else checked it to verify that what I put in, that it was what, was on the paper. But apparently that's not being done.
Lots of questions. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's see if we can get this call in. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air. Hi, caller. Good morning. You're live on the air.
Hi, Dr. Sands here. How you doing?
Oh, Dwayne Zantz. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So when we decided to go to a press conference yesterday, we recognized the seriousness of the concerns and the allegations. The background is that when we went to the advance poll, we were entitled to receive a copy of the certified register. Let the Bahamas know that despite all of the drama leading up to the advance poll, that we did not get a copy of the certified register. And so when people came to the poll, the register that we had was not the same as the register that the returning officer was using. We subsequently got an apology. Oops, sorry. We were supposed to get things happen. So now, when we find that in contravention of the law, there is an attempt for the Parliamentary Registration Department to re-enfranchise thousands of people who they claim were inadvertently left off the register. Wow. Now, while we understand that there are some people who feel aggrieved that having applied, stood in line, gone to Parliamentary Registration Department to register, to find that their names are not on the list. The mischief is that there are many people who could simply be added to the register, unbeknownst to us, who may not be eligible to vote. There are cases before the courts, and you've heard it over and over and over, about counterfeit passports, counterfeit NID cards, counterfeit voters' cards. And so the innocent end up suffering for the guilty. The law is the law, and it says categorically that if you are not on the register, even if you have a voter's card, you cannot vote on a white ballot, because the white ballots get counted on the day.
Right.
And so this is absolutely impossible to correct.
So would you be satisfied if they were allowed to vote on a colored ballot?
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
No problem. But if they try to have people vote on a white ballot, we will cut a movie.
Wow.
And we will shut the whole thing down, because it is against the law. Now, there are people who would be a little bit more forceful in their language in terms of what the intent of this initiative is. I am not going to presume, the intention of the Parliamentary Registration Department or the Commission, although I have my views. But the Parliamentary Registration Department has had more than enough time to get the register straight. The Prime Minister did not have to call the election when he did, but he chose to do so. And as such, the expectation was, legitimate expectation of the people is that the Parliamentary Registration Department would be ready.
So, as of this morning, have you heard anything else from PRD? Are they not pursuing this anymore? Was that just an idea a few days ago, but now they've seen the error of that idea or their ways? Where do things stand?
They have not communicated with us, and so we are going to move it to where the power lies, and that is with the people. Let the people determine what happens. And if they want to fool around and find out how the people respond to this, well, so be it.
So what should the people be doing right now?
The people should be demanding a fulsome, full-throated explanation from the parliamentary commissioner, the Minister of National Security, and the Prime Minister. Because fundamentally, those are the guardians of this process right now.
Indeed.
And by extension, the Provost Marshal, who is the Commissioner of Police.
Do you believe, Dr. Sands, that an explanation, some context, would remedy the current feeling that people have in the community?
Well, I think the missteps have been so many, so massive, that it's not going to cure the current mood in the country. However, it could go a long way to mitigating the concern.
And finally, Dr. Sands, I mean, is the challenge the permanent register going forward? We're going to have to scrap this or start over, or is that contributing to where we are and why we've had so many issues with this?
I think there's a number of issues. One is the permanent register. Two is the fact that the Parliamentary Registration Department has not been adequately staffed and or financed in order to do the job that it is obligated to do. But also, and forgive me for this sincere, you've put an incompetent person at the helm. And, whether it's simply incompetence or worse, I'll leave that up for the public to decide. But you put that perfect storm of facts, and you have what we have, which is the chaos that we saw on Advance Poll Day is going to be a joke compared to what is going to happen on Election Day if they do not get it together.
Wow. Okay, Dr. Dwayne Sands, F&M chairman and a candidate in the election as well. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. Always appreciate hearing from you.
Take care.
We hope this matter is resolved as quickly as possible. I don't know how it can be with such a little bit of time left, but wow. We got a break for the news. When we come back in business, shifting gears a little bit, it's still going to be tied into these security issues and concerns that we have with this election. We're going to bring that up with our Safe and Sound series in just a bit. Stay with us here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Cards were dealt in life. Pray I speak my truth and keep my sisters alive. So for the ones who parted seas, for the ones who's following dreams.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. Insurance. Ask us, because we've got you covered.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
5 years. We struggle as they rule. Our economy in ruins. Job prospects dried up. Hundreds of millions spent on no-bid contracts. Illegal immigrants flooded our communities. Our schools and hospitals broken. And healthcare unaffordable. Now they want 5 more years. If they get it, our future, our Bahamas, is gone. Under the F&M, that changes because they know their job is to work for you, not the few.
Every job I've had, I've learned something invaluable. When I was in, my brother made us look for the screws and the nails in the dirt because your job could be held up. One of the sayings was, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. You are always on the clock. The F&M knows a strong economy means better jobs, more money in people's pocket, and a real comeback. And our team will work every day to make it happen.
This message was paid for and authorized by the Free National Movement.
Try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located at the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Are you a tourism business owner or ready to become one? At the Tourism Development Corporation, we work with tourismers at every stage, turning ideas into thriving businesses and helping existing ones grow. From business development support and funding opportunities to targeted initiatives and strategic partnerships, we're here to help you take that next step. Build your future in tourism with the Tourism Development Corporation. Visit tdcbahamas.com to learn more.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on Friday, May 8th, 2026. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, my special guest co-host today, Ahmad Rashad Thompson, and we have a great show so far.
Good morning.
It is time for our monthly Safe and Sound series with preventative measures. Gamal Nuri is with us as always. Gamal, good morning. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Ahmad. Good morning, Bahamas.
Good
How's
morning,
everybody
sir.
doing?
Wonderful. thank you.
We're doing great. The countdown is on to the election, and that's all that's on everybody's mind, it seems. And we're going to tie that into what we're talking about today. We're talking about why physical security is still important. And we'll tell people a little bit later why this is connected to the election. But let's talk about it. Why physical security is still important. What exactly do you mean, and what are some of the alternatives to the physical security that are being considered or that are in play now?
Yeah, well, Dwight, with this topic, I working with some clients, right? And what I discovered is, and observed is that we put a lot of effort into the cyber threats, the cyber risks, which are real, and we can appreciate that. However, we must appreciate that at the end of the day, that the asset that is being focused on is still a physical asset.
Right.
If I'm committing cyber fraud, if I'm committing any type of email fraud or anything of that sort, I am still focusing on some type of physical asset. So at the end of the day, how do we still maintain security, the integrity of that physical asset that is at the end of the day the target of the breach, or the target of the breach, or what the intent is of the individual. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So let's get into it then. So it sounds like it should be a given that people should understand that physical security is still important. But are people relying a lot more on the concepts and AI and all these other things and taking it for granted?
Yes, and that's a great. It should be a given. It should be, when you do your risk assessment, you appreciate that the asset that is targeted is still physical. So you can put in various digital and AI preventative measures, for a lack of a better word, right? However, the person still are coming in to get a physical asset, and that's just keep basic. You have a let's say a credit card processing platform that's still in a physical location. People, when we use the word the cloud, people visualize that there's something up in the sky where these things are being stored or where the processing is occurred.
Right.
It's still it's at a physical location.
Right.
It's someplace in some jurisdiction, and they have implemented, hopefully, implemented the necessary physical barriers to prevent persons, which has been done in the past. Persons, fraudsters have gone in, and you know what they said? Don't worry, we're going to try and hack in. We're just going to break into that building and just take the
actual
service.
thing, right?
Exactly. It's the information that is stored on that. Now they take as much time as they need to hack into that form. So we can't get so cold age that we forget that it's still based in a real, tangible, physical world.
Right. All right. So what are some of the things that you want people to keep in mind when it comes to physical security, and less of the reliance on digital or anything, as you mentioned, AI related?
Let's look at it. Let's say an access control system or card access system that depends on a card. And in some instances, dual factor, multi-factor authenticity, or verification. You still need to lock the door. You still need to make sure that there's power to that magnetic lock,
Right.
so that when you pass the card either disables or enables the locking mechanism. So that's a physical thing. Do you have backup power? Do you have or system overrides in the event the system does fail? Do you have an override that you can still manually access the location? Things of that sort. So again, it is what we call in the industry security in layers. So you're not dependent on one fail safe. You're still depending on multiple fail safes, which is a combination of the physical security components and also the security components.
Yeah, all that backup power thing is serious. I think that happened. It happened here. The power was off, and people were because of the security procedures and protocols, like you have to have a scanner to get into a different part of the building, and the power was off, and the generator didn't come in, and people were trapped.
Indeed.
Yes, exactly my point. Exactly my point.
Yeah,
Exactly
quite a
my
while.
point.
That's some scary stuff there. All right, so people aren't thinking about this, or you just forget to think. What happens? You overlook it.
You don't know if you're drawn into the illusion that everything is digital. You know, when for example, again, speaking with some clients, right? Everything is heavily on IT recovery. Right. Everything, you know, we're going to back up our system, but you don't have access to that physical that system, or the availability of that system comes into question. Or if you're doing simple, you know, we've leaned very heavily in the last 5-6 years into remote working from home or remote access. But those one physical capabilities, it's as simple as the laptop or, you know, access to the internet. Does the staff member have the same capacity or contingencies at their home that you would have in the office building? So for example, do they have security systems in place? Do they have an alarm system? Are they locking their doors? Do they have a backup generator? Who has access to that platform while they're away? So all of these are which would be assumed in an office environment are not going to be the same restrictions and capabilities in a home environment. So you have to bear all of that in mind as you implement or deploy your assets into these environments.
So what I understand you to say, Kamal, is that we should not abandon common sense because we have digital abilities in front of us. Because you mentioned you still got to lock the door. Like you still got to make sure the physical dwelling is safe. So when people come in to use their access card, there is no breach to the actual building they're going to be walking into. That the robber isn't sitting down in the kitchen waiting for you to come with your purse and then steal it, right? Isn't going to be able to get into your building and steal your computer with the information on it, even if he didn't have an access pass. He could still break the window and get in. So you're telling us not to abandon traditional means of security because we now have more access to digital means of security.
Exactly. Case in point, again, we have some of our devices, be they laptops or telephones, they have tracking systems on them. Some vehicles now have tracking systems on them. That doesn't mean you still leave the key in the ignition. Doesn't mean that you don't keep an eye on your cell phone if you're in a coffee shop when you get up to get something. So back to what you said it very good. You know, common sense, your own personal due diligence. Because again, like I said at the beginning, regardless of the digital mechanisms, the asset or the target that they're going after is still a physical asset. The fraudster wants money. They want your vehicle, they want your phone, your devices, in this age.
Because I think the key access, right? Whether the access is digital or I'm using the word traditional meaning physical access, that's what he or she is looking for. Once they get the access, they have what they need to get further into your system, into your building, and then take what they need and then leave the rest for whoever.
Correct. Correct.
All right. So how do people like? I guess your company would do that. Videos so that people can see. And are enough companies doing that to say, well, yeah, we didn't think about it, but if there is a power loss, everyone's going to be either locked out or locked in. And how do you get folks to think like that and really play out everything that could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, the business needs to get a credible risk assessment that is not locked in or geared to a particular company or device. Because again, if I'm selling IT services or alarm services or some other type of digital service, I'm going to sell my product. But now, how applicable you would have done this from a risk assessment? Then you need to do what is called business continuity or contingency planning, because something will go wrong. It's just the way it is, and whether it's in the Bahamas or in Australia or the UK, something will go wrong, and that 99% of the time that's traced back to some physical breach. Again, a hacker. They have this hacker on a pedestal in our minds through the movies that there's some computer whiz, and perhaps they are, but they're very much dependent now, have been dependent, not now, but certainly through case files, on some physical shortcoming in that system. So it isn't as if they're sitting there and they're running all of these different codes. They would have done some type of social engineering on an individual, where their behavior, where they're going, how they're disposing of trash, things that they're touching, and then now they integrate that breach tactic with some type of digital means. But it started with some physical means to get to that level.
Wow. Okay.
So doing a risk assessment in the first instance, and then from that risk assessment, that we need, for example, in the office, that we need an access control system. We need to restrict access as persons move from one area to the next, especially in a radio station. Okay, which are very critical infrastructure. But now, what happens if we lose power? What happens if that person loses their card? What happens if someone gets in? And how do we lock that particular area down? Can we partition it? So all of this needs to be looked at in not just as one fix we want to get in, but how do we manage that system in the event there's a breach to that system or some failure in that system?
All right, so let's bring it home to the election and what's going on now. And we've had some challenges, especially from advanced poll day, and we've had I wouldn't say riots, but close to some angry people, and when it comes to moving ballot boxes and so many other protocols that seem to be in at the moment. Let's talk about that and applying this to that process.
Well, we would see that one of the biggest exposures is a physical asset, the identification card or the identification system, the voter's card, the passports. We've seen, which may not be specific to the elections at this point, but there is certainly a threat there. But we would have seen in the last 6 months, an uptick on instances where physical systems, meaning their passport, voters' cards, have been discovered to be fraudulent. So again, how are we managing that? Because that physical device, like I mentioned I've mentioned again, the target is usually a physical device or a physical system. So your identifier, your passport, your driver's license, your voter's card. We have seen an uptick in cases being reported to the police or discovery by police and the various officials, these things have been unaccounted for. They have been under heavy scrutiny, and they're fraudulent. And that's a Pandora's box of concerns now moving forward to the credibility of the process. Because if the identifier is under question, if the identifier which gets you access, Ahmad, that gets you in, and if that's under scrutiny or questionable, then we have a problem. We have a problem from the onset, and that's a physical device. When we look again, and I think within this chain of custody, which again is another physical process, chain of where a box is being kept, how they being kept, are they secure, who has access, that type of thing. That's chain of custody. So that's another concern that comes into the process, the chaos at the advanced polls, access control. It was a very scary environment in many instances, and emotions are there. We have to appreciate that everybody wants it to be fair, but if it's seen not to be fair, and I mentioned with a friend of mine, if you're standing up on the line, let's say you're at a local takeaway, right, and you're standing on the line, and somebody jumps in that line, and this is just food. So imagine you're talking about who is going to be taking control or controlling or governing the country for the next 5 years. Emotions are high. If you've been waiting in the line for that chicken snack, and this guy walks up and gets his chicken or Kong snack, and you've been waiting there, you mad. Mad.
Just pay right and being down.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a very serious question, put you on the spot. What would you have done? And preventative measures, what could you have done to improve this process? I guess it's an unfair question. But yeah, what are some things that you think should have been considered, perhaps?
Well, certainly, again, I think the data was there saying that you have had an uptick in registration. if you're saying that I think it went to 200 plus thousand, which is about what 50, I don't know, 50% of the register. I didn't remember the exact number, but certainly it was reported in the media that the registration, the number of registrants has increased. So that already says to me, okay, my capacity now needs to increase to accommodate this initial wave of individuals, the advanced polls. And we have to appreciate too who's coming to the advanced polls. Not just law enforcement or poll workers for the various parties or for the PRD, but also handicapped elderly individuals. We've put them under this advanced poll category. So how are we now looking at, hey, we're going to have more people because we got more people registered. You know, if you're planning an event and you plan for 200 people and then you get your ticket count goes up to 400 people, you know you have to do some things. So certainly increasing the capacity to handle that increase or that expected increase. And that would have meant perhaps changing venues, more opportunities for the various polling divisions. We know the numbers. I mean, we know what the numbers are. So we have an idea that some of those individuals, which I'm not sure of that is documented. Some of those individuals are going to be elderly. Certainly we'll know who are going to be senior citizens. Let me use that term. We know who because we have date of births. So we change and accommodate to make contingencies to accommodate that. As simple as provisioning for water and chairs and shade.
Yeah.
It's hot. I don't know if anybody lives in the Bahamas or where we live in. It's hot. It's hot out there.
With this heat indexing.
You know, and I'll put a pin in that. I'll put a pin in that for a second. When I do fire emergency evacuations, right? And everybody evacuates. But one of the simple things that the business forgets, now you're gonna have your staff standing outside in the elements, be it rain, be it the hot sun. What are your contingencies for as simple as having water available, as simple as having some place for incapacitated to sit down? And this was an oversight, I think, in that process. If you're inviting me to an advanced poll, what are you putting in place to accommodate those persons who are going to be at a disadvantage?
Kamal, you used a very interesting word just now. You said you're inviting me to an advanced poll. It is an invitation, Dwight. If we consider what Kamal just said, Kamal said, I've been invited to participate in this activity. You've invited me to your party, Dwight. You're supposed to feed me, give me somewhere to sit down, give me somewhere to skull, and give me somewhere to go use the bathroom. Right? You're supposed to give me something to drink, and I'm supposed to know where to find these items when I get to your party. The PRD, the government of the Bahamas, any government, whenever they hold elections, invites its citizens to an event. We have an index right now that you read. This morning I came at my house about at 6:34 a.m. and it was hot like it was 4:38 p.m. in August. I was sweating when I walked outside my door at 6:34 a.m. today. Imagine 12:38 p.m. on Tuesday. Where there may be a chance of rain and heat. You can be hot like dog and wet like dog on the same day. And if I am the PRD, I'm already putting out statements that say you can expect to see cases of water on ice. You can expect to sit on the tents. You can expect to sit in chairs. To get it together and prepare for the party we've invited these people to. Because if Kamal's statement is correct, when you take these assessments, Kamal, that you said you do these fire drills and whatnot, what about the person who in a fire drill may become incapacitated mentally, is having a bit of a breakdown? Like, do we know what we're inviting people to actually participate in? Yeah. And now that we know, just like we knew there was an increase in voters for the advanced poll, just like we know 50% of our population is registered to vote, which means 50% may show up to vote. What are we doing to accommodate 75% of people? Because according to Mr. Sands and Mr. Pintard, about 15,000 extra people have a right to put a vote on the white paper too.
They just might.
So what are we doing?
Yeah,
exactly. And the difference is we know in advance. We know already. Because
it is not a surprise. It ain't a pop-up.
Exactly.
This isn't a pop-up election. And to your point, these things are pop-up security issues.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and this is in my arena, how I view my worldview. This is a security issue because now if it's not addressed, it sets the stage for anxious behavior. It sets the stage for aggravation. It sets the stage for high emotion, and that could be anything from me sucking my teeth and walking off, or to the next end of the spectrum, the paradigm, me getting violent with someone. You see, so I could become disgruntled and walk away, or I can say, hey, I'm going to do something physical to someone, and so we have to put those things in place.
As we heard, cut a movie, So, I mean, callers, we'll get to you in a second. Give us a second. I can't recall this ever happening before, where those things that you mentioned, those are great things, where they were provided by the PRD. Are they expecting, and this might be a rhetorical question, are they expecting the parties, because they're already setting up their tents?
Sure.
Are they expecting them to do this for people coming to vote? And is that not a challenge?
This is where planning comes into play.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where the PRD can be the agent or the agitator to encourage the parties, and I'm sure the parties won't have an issue with that. That's my opinion. I don't think they'll have an issue with that. But again, this is where planning comes into play.
You got to have
if we can't do it as the PRD, then we have other stakeholders, who are available to do that. And I know, and I'll say this, right? I know the PRD and the police and the other workers, they're going to be refreshed. They're going to have their
But
things.
you know something, though?
I'll say that. I'll say that.
Anyway,
they're gonna have access to facility, whether it's refreshments or whatever the case may be, because they're standing up out there as well. They're working all day. So likewise, as people come in, you need to appreciate the other stakeholders, which is the voter.
Yeah, indeed.
Which is critical to the operation. I'm as law enforcement, as PRD, the critical stakeholder is the voter. If they don't come, then what am I there for?
To influence the vote.
Indeed.
You got better sodas and better food over here.
I got sweeter soda and saltier chicken. Come on down.
Oh, boy. Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Bless us, Lord. Bless us.
Yes, good morning, Dwight, and to everyone in the studio with you.
Morning,
good morning.
And good morning to the nation. Just pushing back on some of the comments made with regards to inviting to party and inviting to vote, right?
Sure.
You started to highlight in a minimum way, Dwight, some of what I want to say. I don't think, first and foremost, yes, there's a customer service component that can be considered, but as it relates to the law and the obligation and the commitment, I believe that a responsible approach would also be to encourage persons to, first and foremost, inform persons that, yes, we have record numbers of persons registered, so you can expect to be waiting on the line for a while. However, we're doing everything that we can to minimize the wait time, but expect that there will be wait times with record levels of. Secondly, I don't think that it's fair to just seek to influence the public into thinking that as the law exists currently, the PRD is responsible for providing refreshments, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I think that's the wrong approach. Right. And so I'm piggybacking a little bit, like I said, Dwight, on what you started to interject.
Yeah.
Right? So that the conversation doesn't get carried away.
Yes.
And end on that note.
That's clear.
Right? However, at the same time, I don't think that it should be permitted once you enter onto the grounds to cast your vote for individual parties to be providing for individual voters complimentary services, et cetera, that could be perceived and that could also influence the mindsets of individuals, bearing in very strenuous circumstances, right? Because all of those things can be considered as factors that will influence the outcome of an individual when they go to vote. Because someone could be standing on that line for an hour and a half, and then noticing that the person who they didn't go there to vote for is offering refreshments to persons who they perceive or that vote for them, and that could be a turn off to an individual on the line. And so all of those things have to be considered. All of these accessory services that are being provided by political parties, all of those things ought to be cut out, and that environment ought to be completely sanitized. I'll end right at Dwight. Also, there's a factor of what are the resources that are required? Who in that studio has been able to verify that the PRD actually that they require in order to efficiently exercise their duty, right? Which is another major consideration. I certainly can't say, but I could speculate and say that I don't believe that someone who's given service to the country for decades, who understands and who's participated in the process for decades, would allow themselves to find themselves lacking in such a way. And so this story, as bad as it seems right now, I don't think that it can all be laid at the hands of one individual or a few individuals who are also subject to requirements and needs, right? Who is not independent in their entirety as an operation, who is subject to some degree, whether it's with financing, whether it's with human resources, whether it's with access to the auxiliary resources that they would need to accommodate handicapped people or elderly people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's a lot of floating considerations, and this we have to be guided and responsible in our discussions so as not to influence unduly the public in the wrong direction. Thank you for the opportunity, Dwight.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't think that was happening, but sure.
Yeah, I think that the individual misunderstood the conversation. The question was asked, what recommendations? So there certainly is a limited expectation now, but nevertheless, within reason, we have to appreciate. And I go back to my point: the human factor, the physical factors that are involved in the process. And this is not the first rodeo. If you are a department, the capacity is there. You're not finding out today that you have 200,000+ persons registered. The resources should be made available and can be, even today, in my opinion, can be made available. Yeah. So if that's an avenue or direction that they decide to go or they want to go. But these are only suggestions that all of us are stakeholders in this particular process. All of us. So sitting in the room here or working at the PRD, we're all stakeholders as Bahamians who want to see a free and fair election, and that everyone in their best way can participate.
Yeah, and as you said, you have the data. You know which polling divisions have an excessive number of people and how there's likely to be an issue here versus that one, and you can have some things set up now to guard against any challenges. Let's take just a couple more calls as we're running out of time. But caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Strachan, and to Kamal and to Ahmad. You know, I listen to you guys. I love these. It's hard to really make an insertion with these two brains on the show. I mean, to be honest with you, because there's a level of perfection and just common sense, like Kamal alluded to right now. Mr. Strachan, I'd like to say this, right? Firstly, the situation, the scenario now as it relates to the PRD, right? Obviously, the lack of clear juxtaposed with incompetency. I don't know what he said, but he said that what can't be put a blame one person. But knowing the information that these guys disclosed, we know that there was an increase in registered voters, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, haste, they say, make race. So if they're saying people who were registered, I mean, people who were not on the voters list, and they have voters card, and they want them to vote on a white paper, you can't hire more staff to actually facilitate that faster. So what's the point in really rushing to find out who win the election? Is it the excitement, the fanfare? But an interesting overview for me is the fact that when we talk about the fraudulent documents, et cetera, right? For me, I want to see the data on the predominancy or the predominant demographics, because it is aligning with the consensus of the people, saying that a certain demographics is more involved in this because of the fraud cases from where NIB, immigration permit, work permits, and Mr. Ingram said that you have people coming in on work permits and spousal permits and et cetera, whatever. I'm not going to be as fastidious as possible, but and then I kind of lean in with this. The only person missing from this show is Mr. Shivago Line, and these two other guys and you, and we'll get a real overview on what's going on, because I'm ignorant in some areas, but I'm just inducing common sense here. So what I'm saying is it is aligning with, give us the data on who is getting these fraudulent passports. So if someone votes on a white paper, then use AI or something to authenticate or document who which document is fraud. Don't tell me, don't disenfranchise the person not to vote, but then have a delayed response or a delayed result. That's simple for me. I don't need to rush into the front. They're so ecstatic, and you can see it in the people, Mr. Strachan.
All right, so remember now, it's not a certain thing that all the people who are not on the register obtained this voter's card through fraud. It could be just that they were left off inadvertently, right? Because there are people who are on the permanent register who've had no issue before, but this time, for some reason, they're not on.
Right.
So that's not going to be necessarily the common denominator with this. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. One final call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight, again. Good morning. I want to respectfully disagree with that statement that Antoine made about the PRD putting out a statement to expect long wait times. Listen, people already, nobody want to hear to expect long wait time. Like all of you said before, and the old people used to say, in the time of peace, you prepare for war. You knew what was coming at you, all right? The question is, do you have sufficient resources in order to deal with this? And if I don't have sufficient resources, then I call in reinforcements. The PRD has the government at resources at its disposal, all right? So they could have mitigated against that. So don't go tell people. Some people, because of the long wait times, they left because they have other things to do than to sit on the line 8 and 10 hours and things like that. They didn't expect long wait time. So don't make that excuse. You should try to minimize the time as your customers. I know sometimes we go in the bank and we wait on the line for long because why? We need our money, right? if that is the only avenue in order to get our money. But if there was another way where we don't have to wait on the line, then we would take the other options. Okay. So don't make excuse, man. Prepare. That's it.
Okay, all right. I said it before. I mean, that might be a unique experience to me. It's never taken me longer than 7 minutes to vote. I don't know what's happening, but I'm sure that's not a unique. I mean, I don't know if that is a unique situation or if that is common, but I'll ask both of you, what's the longest it's ever taken you?
I don't remember. I've never paid attention to it, honestly, but I don't ever remember feeling like I was here all day. Honestly, I've never really taken the time to but when I heard you say it last week, I thought what I'm going to do is I will time myself from the moment I get into the gate of that polling division until I leave that gate to see how long it took me to get through and to do the cast vote and all of those things. But I think to kind of talk about what each person has said very briefly, I believe that you can to expect, and you should. I think it's a responsible part of your duty as the organizer to say, listen, man, we are excited about the number of people who's going to come out to vote. Please prepare for so and so and so. Is it to the first caller, is it the responsibility of PRD by law? I'm not certain of what their responsibilities are. But I'm saying to you, if we keep hearing the term unprecedented, then perhaps we need to invite some innovation into this unprecedented process. Do what we've never done before to get where we've never been before.
Think outside the ballot box? No,
perhaps.
But what about you, Gamal? How long has it taken you? What's the longest it's ever taken you?
It is similarly. It's taken me. I think the longest maybe 30 minutes, and that's during advanced polling.
Yeah, it's always then.
Okay. But I don't think that it's been as bad as it was. I think was it last week?
Right.
And again, capacity. We can't. We can't. If there's an emergency and we know that we would use this particular exit and that exit has been blocked, then we have to adjust. We have to adapt. And so this is when you talk about responsibility. All right, the election process is under the PRD, and that starts from outside because you're going to be queuing up outside.
Right.
The election process is in fact, if you go to the International Association for Elections, right, and the process, right, they say an election process starts at least 2 to 3 years before because there's the registration process. So let's not just limit the election to the day of. This is months and years in advance.
Yeah.
So we can't just go on as if this is a one-time event that happens on this particular day. The process to get to this day, and then obviously the process after the fact. it's a longer period than just 24 hours. So we know what we're getting ourselves into. We've done it before. This isn't our first rodeo. So we have to adapt. We have to adjust. And there are international precedents out there that we can go to learn from. So if in the Bahamas it's new for us, I'm positive jurisdictions, other places in the world, and it's out there. The Organization for Security in Europe gives long case studies on electoral processes around the world where there are successes and failures. So you adapt. We're not working in a silo. We're not the only persons in the world that have an elections. We're not the only country that is overwhelmed in some instances. Yeah. So we learn from these things. So there's no excuse in 2026.
Absolutely.
There's no excuse.
Kamal, you got 30 seconds to wrap it up. I mean, whether it's a business or an electoral commission or whatever it is, you got to learn from the mistakes that have been made in the past, right? Learn when there's a breakdown with your physical security. Your final words of advice to everybody, no matter what type of business we're dealing with.
Do not forget the physical security. Do not get all bells and whistles of a digital or an AI process. All of these things zero back into something tangible in your hand that's being targeted. And so you have to use your common sense. You have to use your past experiences or the experiences of others to develop a proper asset protection strategy.
Yeah. Kamal Nuri, Preventative Measures, thank you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We'll see you again next second Friday each month. Thank you for being here during our Safe and Sound series.
Thank you for having me. You guys enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Kamal. Same to you, man.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to wrap things up. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Thanks for your patience. We'll be taking off very shortly. You should be wheels up in about 40 minutes. And due to a bumpy ride, snacks and beverage service has been suspended. AC has given us some trouble. Sorry, folks. And Wi-Fi is out. And so is the entertainment. Yeah, I'm sorry about the smell, folks. We are aware.
I know.
Just one more quick note. We are going to have to deplane.
Come on! We're like the plane ride that isn't a nightmare. CG Atlantic 8's good like that.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave hands and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
The FNM can't agree on anything except attacking everything started by the PLP. Now Michael Pintard is calling for a reset, but it's stop, review, and cancel again. Imagine, new airports, canceled. School breakfast, canceled. Upskill, canceled. The National Youth Guard, canceled. Energy reforms, canceled. Their crew would roll back progress. The FNM, not strong enough to lead us forward, but petty enough to drag us back. Paid for by the PLP.
It is time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL Industrial Investment and Energy Trading Company, Luska Group, revealing that its subsidiary, Grand Bahama Salt Company Limited, has secured all final regulatory approvals for the acquisition of Morton Bahamas Limited, paving the way for what Luska says will be a major expansion of salt production operations in Greater Nagua, and roughly $125 million in investment across the island's economy and infrastructure. The acquisition, which is scheduled to close on June 1st, will result in the renaming of the operation to Luska Salt Bahamas Limited, with products to be marketed internationally under the Bahamas Salt brand. In a statement released yesterday, company officials said the approvals clear the way for a broad development strategy that includes expanding industrial output, investing in renewable energy, modernizing the island's airport, and upgrading community infrastructure. Group Chief Executive Officer of Fidelity Bank and Trust International, Gowan Bow, telling Guardian Business that the most significant issue raised by the Fiscal Responsibility Council's latest report is not the figures, but the fact that successive administrations have failed to address long-standing weaknesses repeatedly identified by the council since its establishment in 2018. Bo says the recurring concerns highlighted in the FRC's mid-year budget report 2026 point to systemic shortcomings in financial reporting, economic analysis, and fiscal modeling that continue to undermine the council's ability to properly assess compliance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act. The government-backed Small Business Development Center has officially surpassed $100 million in funding distributed to Bahamian entrepreneurs. That's according to SBDC Executive Director Samantha. Described the milestone as evidence that institutional reforms and targeting support programs are beginning to generate measurable national economic impact. And Royal Caribbean International says it explored whether the government would give it a concession allowing alcohol to be served on its private island, Coco Key, and the Royal Beach Club on Election Day, May 12th, when the sale of alcohol is prohibited until all polls are closed. That's according to travel website TravelHost. TravelHost said RCI notified passengers by email that neither destination would be able to serve alcohol on May 12th. RCI told its guests that there is public notice that the Bahamas prohibits the distribution of alcohol during the national elections, and that they explored whether any exceptions could be made, but the restriction applies nationwide throughout the country. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Thursday, your market movers, Doctors Hospital moving 6,842 shares, closing at 487, down 1 cent. Consolidated Water up 2 cents, closing at 664. Emira Incorporated up or down 8 cents, closing at 12.76. The BISX All Share Index closing at 375.14, down 0.07. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. As we wrap up, Ahmad, Rashad Thompson, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to say we had a loss here at the NASA Guardian. One of our colleagues just suddenly passed away yesterday morning, and we're still in shock. Yeah. And so condolences to our friend Anita Roll and to her family, to all of her friends, everybody here at the NASA Guardian.
It puts things in perspective, Dwight. I've known Anita all my life. The Bahamas listening to remember that May 13th is going to come. Like, this is one day, an important day. But I spoke to Anita last week, Friday. Today is Friday, and she's not here. Yeah. Like, please don't get caught up on the things. We are human beings on a journey that we cannot control. And today could be your day.
Absolutely.
Please be thoughtful, be mindful as you go through this process of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mother's Day is Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. It's going to be a challenging day for me, the first one.
Yes.
And
God be with you, brother. God be with you, brother.
And everybody who's in those shoes.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be rough for you as well. But as Ahmad said, life is short, and let everyone that you love know that how much you love them, folks.
Yes.
Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green. Coming up next.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, you're always down for me. Have always been around. Was bad. You've shown me right from my wrongs. Yes, you did. And you took up for me when everyone was down on me. You always did.